All right, let's talk about one of the biggest misconceptions in the startup world. We tend to think of design as, the pretty layer you add at the end. But what if I told you its real job is way more important than that? What if design isn't just a nice to have, but is actually one of the best forms of risk control you've got? Let's get into it.
This quote, it absolutely nails it. See, skipping design isn't really a shortcut. It's more like taking out a loan with some seriously brutal interest rates. And to show you exactly what I mean, we're going to follow the story of a very typical, very real-world startup.
Okay, so picture this. You're at an early-stage company. The pressure is on. All you hear is ship, 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 right? Every single hour that isn't spent writing code feels like a total waste of time.
So in that kind of high-pressure environment, the team makes what feels like a totally logical call. Let's just skip the slow design part. The engineer can whip up a UI that works, it gets the job done, and most importantly, it's fast. Everyone high-fives, moves on to the next fire, and it feels like a big win. But here is the thing, and this is so important. User experience problems, they don't just vanish because you ignored them. No way. They're more like a hidden leak in your house's plumbing. The water doesn't just disappear. It just finds another place to cause damage, usually somewhere you can't see it, at least not yet.
And this hidden problem actually has a name. It's called UX debt. It's basically the sum total of all those quick and dirty design choices. On the surface, yeah, the product works. But if you could take an X-ray of the system, you'd see this fundamental flaw, this invisible leak that's just quietly getting worse and worse.
And pretty soon, that hidden leak becomes a very, very visible flood. The real consequences of that shortcut you took way back when, well, they're starting to show up, and the team is about to start paying the price.
All of a sudden, the support team is completely underwater. The inbox is exploding. We're talking 5,428 support tickets in 1 month. That is thousands of real customers who are confused, they're frustrated, and they're hitting a wall that never should have been built in the first place.
And here it is. This is the real cost. All that time you thought you saved by skipping design, it's now being paid back 10 times over by your support team. They've essentially become a human patch for a broken product experience. The leak has officially burst, and it is flooding the entire company.
But the bleeding doesn't stop with support tickets. Oh no. Frustrated customers? They leave. That's churn. Your engineers get pulled into this endless cycle of rewriting code, just patching up confusing workflows instead of building cool new features. Whole development cycles are literally thrown in the trash fixing problems that were completely preventable.
But then, you get the turning point. The team is exhausted, they're tired of bailing water, and they finally realize that just answering tickets isn't the solution. They have to stop fighting the flood and go find the source of the leak. This is that aha moment, right? They're shifting from just treating the symptoms to actually diagnosing the disease. And that forces them to ask the single most important question they can ask. It's not, how do we answer tickets faster? It's, why are we drowning in tickets in the first place? And the answer, of course, leads them all the way back to that one seemingly harmless decision to ship fast and skip design.
So the solution here can't be just another Band-Aid. It has to be a real, systemic patch to their whole process, something that stops the leak from ever happening again.
And you know what's wild? The patch itself is actually really simple. Before anyone writes a single line of production code, the team agrees to just 2 steps. First, prototype the idea. Make a simple, clickable mockup. Second, run a quick user test. Just grab a few potential customers and watch them use the prototype. Do they get it? Do they get stuck? It's that simple.
And this, right here, is the main point of this whole thing. This new process isn't about making things look pretty. It's about de-risking your ideas. That prototype and user test are incredibly cheap, incredibly fast ways to find out if you're about to build the wrong thing before you sink hundreds of engineering hours into it. In this context, design is purely risk reduction.
So what happens when the team actually starts doing this? When they apply this systemic patch to how they work? Well, the results aren't just good, they're game-changing.
I mean, the before and after is just night and day. The support team's overload turns into a manageable trickle of tickets. Customer churn plummets because the product actually makes sense now. The leak is stopped. And the engineers? They're freed up from constant rewrites, so they're actually shipping new features faster than ever. See, they're building again, not just fixing.
And that brings us to the final, and maybe most important takeaway. When things are going wrong, it is so easy to blame people. The engineers are slow, or support isn't keeping up. But more often than not, it's not a people problem. It's a system problem. By treating design as a form of risk control, you don't just fix your product, you fix the very system your team uses to build it. And that is a far more powerful solution.